Hi, my name is Colleen Sisk, and one of the articles that I am using for my behavior change project is Functional Communication Training to Reduce Challenging Behavior, Maintenance and Application in New Settings, and that is by Durand and Carr from 1991, found in the Journal of Applied Behavior Analysis. So the research purpose and the overall question that Durand and Carr had was, could the results of functional communication training be transferred to other environments, other adults, and other teachers year after year in a classroom setting? So this study had two distinct parts. They first did a functional analysis. Durand and Carr studied the effects of functional analysis on 3 different subjects, and those subjects were all boys age 9, 12, and 12, and they were in a classroom setting with 2 teachers, a teacher, teacher assistant, and 3 other children. They assessed the influence of adult attention and task demands on the students' challenging behavior. They had 2 research assistants that collected data through a one-way mirror. They asked the teachers to conduct a motivational assessment scale, and then the functional analysis was conducted by the researchers. They did 3 conditions, and those were baseline, attention, and escape condition, and they used an ABA-CAC ABA design. The inter-observer agreement was assessed in 100% of the sessions by the trained undergrad student observers, and the IOA was determined to be 78% or higher for all the participants. The results concluded that challenging behaviors of all 3 boys did increase when difficult tasks were introduced, which suggested escape from task as the function of their behavior. And for one of the boys, in addition to escape, an attention condition was determined as a controlling variable for him. So then they moved on to study 2, and that was designed to assess the long-term effectiveness of the functional communication training. So they really wanted to know if it would transfer long-term to other settings and other teachers, without those teachers being aware of both the challenging behaviors and the functional communication training that was done. So they used a multiple baseline design across student design. Each student was observed for an average of 60 minutes a day through a one-way mirror looking into the classroom. And they used, following baseline, they taught the boys both I don't understand and help me as their communication. And in addition to the boy who had an attention-seeking function, they also taught him the question, am I doing well? And he was trained to ask his teacher every 60 seconds. The results of the functional analysis follow-up was that behaviors significantly decreased for all of the boys after functional communication training was taught. Then they did a follow-up observation 1 year and 2 years later. The future teachers were not told of the challenging behaviors or the FCT. All 3 boys were then placed in separate gen ed classrooms, all with different teachers. Observers from the previous trainings made 11 announced visits in the next year, and they made 2 unannounced visits in that 3rd year. 2 of the boys maintained their level of functional communication training and their low levels of challenging behavior, but one of the boys regressed to high levels of challenging behavior, and he rarely requested assistance from his teachers, and it was determined informally during the observations that the teacher was not responding to his functional communication attempts to ask for attention or to ask for help. So a booster session was conducted for that boy. IOA was assessed only using 1/3 of the observation sessions this time, again using the trained undergrad observers, and IOA was determined at 83% or higher for all participants. The results was that the data supported the use of functional communication training as an intervention whose effects may transfer and be maintained across several dimensions. And future research considerations were that since pre-intervention data was not conducted in those teachers' classrooms in year 2 and 3, the statements of generalization and maintenance are just descriptive and anecdotal at best. So future research should examine some collateral effects of functional communication training. However, it is significant that the results transferred to teachers when they were not aware of the communication training, and it was exciting to read that what that showed was essentially not everyone in a setting needs to be trained on functional communication training. So theoretically, all the other adults and students in that school should be able to respond to requests for help, bids for attention when they're appropriate. Okay, thank you.